All right. Rank Dustin. It's a website that says how much of a douche Dustin actually is.
Isn't this a website already?
Yeah, rankdustin.com. If it's not, I'm going to buy that before you do.
Oh, domain's down. Welcome to Idea Drop. When you flip through the channels of businesses that run through your mind, do you often find yourself saying, that asshole, I should have thought of that? Well, we are that asshole. But here's the good part. We thought about it and now you can go do it. Take our ideas, steal them. Why? Well, because ideas are limitless. Implementation is hard. And we believe above all else, it is good to be hard. How are you, Kendall?
Oh my God. Dustin. I'm good. I'm waking up at 4:45 in the morning every day.
Oh, wow.
I pick up the kids at 2:30. I work, in between there. And then we do school time. We do homework. We do dinner prep. We eat dinner. My wife comes home from full-time school, feeds the baby. And then I get to say hi to her after kids' bedtime at like 8:30. Then fall asleep by 9. And then do it again.
Gosh. That sounds crazy. Stressful. I don't like that early wake up. I've done it many times in my life, and I always slip back into the 8 a.m. But that's fine.
It's Idea Drop. So I'll tell you the idea I had. The idea I had was this product definitely exists. I've just never heard of it yet. So you know how I know this exists, so I'm going to Google it, and it's going to magically appear as if it's an invention. I Googled vibration watch for early mornings.
Yeah.
And I was like, there it is. It's $30 on Amazon. So it vibrates at 4:45 and then my wife doesn't wake up and it's perfect.
You know what you could do to spin off of that? You could do directional speakers. This is something that the military has.
Oh.
Yeah. So speakers are usually done conically.
Right.
So they go in every direction because the cone will eventually dissipate and cross over.
I've never said conically in my life, but now I have.
Today's the day. I'm so happy that
I just did that.
Yeah. Good job. Happy to do that for you.
Yep.
That's the fun part about language. You can say sentences that have never existed. For example, Kendall just shot 3 sheep while hiking Mount Everest on his mother's back and shoulder mounting a harness for a bear. Right? That sentence is never said. And it's never existed before. That's
for good reasons. For really good reasons.
That's the beauty of language. Anyways, okay, hold on. Here's the pivot of your idea. You could do extremely directional speakers. They exist. They're very, very underutilized. The military uses them against terrorists who are trying to board boats. So it's like they shoot really loud sounds at them, but 90% of the sounds go straight in front because it's vibrating just in one direction.
Yeah.
It's effective. So you could theoretically
wake
have
yourself up with an
but
alarm.
not your wife. Yeah.
That actually is a really good product idea.
Yeah.
Is it expensive to manufacture something like that?
Theoretically, it just uses the same sciences of a wave, like a speaker, but it's flat instead of round.
I didn't ask about science. Do you think it's cheap to manufacture?
Yeah, sorry. I don't think it'd be cheap. No.
Okay, so it's a premium product. It's the Apple of alarms.
I think it would work. It'd be fun. Okay, hold on. Before we get too far, too out of hand, Kendall, I have a couple questions for you. But before we get into the questions, let's do a quick segment overview. Today, I'm going to ask Kendall to pitch me on something. I'm going to talk about barrels, something about regions, fireproof binders, buying a mechanic's shop, car vaults, state shaming, and I have a few bad business ideas for you. And then I have a question about passion. But first things first, Kendall, I want to ask you, why do you do the podcast?
Oh my gosh, for different reasons than you probably.
Really? I just want to be popular.
Yeah, right. We're all just trying to be junior hires again. No, I actually care is one answer. I actually care. And I remember being maybe 12 and my dad and I were watching an ad pop up on TV. And he's like, no way. That's what I invented 20 years ago. And I was 12. And I'm like, what do you mean you invented it? They invented it. And he's like, yeah, but I made the same prototype 20 years ago and I used it for this with your grandpa. And that, and I always thought this would be $1 million idea if I just took it to market. And in my 12-year-old brain, I'm like, you idiot. Why didn't you do that, Dad?
That's so funny.
So that has played itself out many times in my life. And obviously that's a common story, hence your intro.
Oh my gosh. I like
that.
True. Oh, good.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us think alike or we are quick to identify problems. People are very slow to put themselves in a position to be solution oriented.
They're so slow to no, they don't believe that they can. They think that there's this magical world of like
bullshit.
questionable.
Someone else should.
Literally, somebody just sat down and said, "Okay, how do I do this?" And you start with Google, how to do this.
Yeah. Don't ask me first. Just Google it first, then let's talk about it.
You ever send somebody the Google link, how to Google?
It's let me Google that for you.
Yeah, let me
LMG what F.
I love it. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, let me Google that for you. .com.
If somebody's annoying you, send them that with the
Very
question that they're.
passive-aggressive.
Yeah, it's so passive aggressive. Send them. Let me Google that for you.com with the question that they're trying to Google, and it communicates, number one, you're an idiot, and number two, this is how you fish, because they should know by now.
Yeah, teach a man to fish.
Anyway, sorry, you were talking about why you did this
Also,
podcast.
did you know you could use Boolean in Google?
I did. I don't use it much, but I think we all do it a little bit.
If you don't know what Boolean is, first Google what is Boolean, then read the formulas, interpret the information in your head, and then try it in the Google search bar. You will be able to filter down to things with precise results you didn't know existed, and then your idea will, your brain will start like, I could make this part of my job easier, or I could filter through this, or I could get a quick answer for. So,
or you get all the stats from other companies who did all the hard work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then maybe just download a web scraper or something. There's Chrome plugins that will
Web scraping's a lot easier these days.
Yeah, it's a Chrome plugin.
Yeah, you don't have to know any coding or anything like that. I love it. Okay, before we get too far, Kendall, can I ask? I want you to pitch me on something.
Anything?
No. I'm going to give you something to pitch.
Okay.
This is a website.
Ready.
You introduced me to this website. I think it's hilarious and hilariously bad. Can you go to ideasai.com? And you already know what this is, but just for the viewers. Yeah. It's so GPT-3. GPT-3. Yeah, 4 is not out yet. They come up with ideas. Oh, there it is. So it's just... I've
never seen this.
A computer creates business ideas for you. You've never seen this? It's so funny, man, because some ideas are great and some ideas are bad.
Swipe left or your arrow key to dislike, swipe right to
and then
like.
As soon as you like something, okay, this is an example. A startup that helps people explore the world to learn new things. That's a terrible idea.
I hate that idea.
It's a terrible
Next,
idea. So
swipe right or swipe left.
Click the X on it, Jared. Thank you, Jared. All right. A free mobile app. So I want you to come up with one of these, and
and then pitch it to you.
I want you to pitch it to me. Yeah. Right. So let's go through these things.
I'm gonna pick a free mobile app that helps you find things to do in your neighborhood for free, offering nearby. Nope. Next. A startup for freelance work available for both employers and employees. Next.
That makes no sense.
That's nothing. Come on.
So these are
AI.
all created by AI, just out of nowhere.
A platform that helps employers and the government monitor their workers' health. I mean, that definitely exists many times over. Next.
Maybe this is...
This one's top ideas.
There we go. Go down. I loved that.
A text-to-speech app that translates text into any language, then sends the audio to a bank of speakers with deep learning built in. What the hell?
It's too complicated. Okay, can I pick
solar-powered garden hose for
pitch
cleaning.
Me on this. Pitch me on this.
It's a solar-powered garden hose for cleaning. Okay. Are you tired of connecting your garden hose to the faucet? I have a preloaded solar-powered garden hose that's 3/4 filled with water already, and the heat inducts the water out the nozzle of the hose.
So just like heat rises, the water exits the hose?
You could have pressure and everything for about 4 seconds. It's great for those 4-second cleanses.
Pressure and everything. We got it. This is a terrible website. Let's do another one.
None of these are good.
I want to try actually pitching you a startup that wants to pair people
with mentors.
Ooh,
I've seen this done.
This is interesting.
You could pitch that.
Okay, hold on.
Pitch it with a flair, though.
Okay. Are you young and interested in learning how to do new things, but you think, wow, college is kind of a waste of time? Well, we have a solution for you. What you're going to do is you're going to buy into our 1-year program. It's a little bit expensive and it's going to hurt you a lot. But when you're going to come out on the other side, you're going to be wiser. Why? Because we're pairing you with a mentor. And those mentors, they fought for their stripes. They know how to build businesses because they have built businesses. So you can ask yourself, would you rather go to college and learn nothing? Or would you rather learn how to be a badass and start businesses with mentors?
I kind of like that. Can I go into debt for this?
Yeah, you
As
kind
a
of have to.
student?
Yeah, yeah.
So are you going to give me...
Let's say it's $10,000. That's way cheaper
it
than
could
college.
be... I wonder if they could get accredited. There's got to be a way to like work the loopholes to become an accredited college so that they could get government secured debt.
Yeah.
So they could pay the mentoring service.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just like, okay, you're going to pay this mentor $8,000. You're going to pay us $2,000. So you're in 10. And you're going to get way better than 3 units of classwork.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
So this is if you have any idea, like if you want to try to find a good free business idea, this AI creates the ideas for you. It's ideasai.com. None of the ideas I think are awesome ideas, but they're ideas. So take them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. One of the easiest ways to create value in the world is to take an existing thing that the marketplace already buys and sells. Mm-hmm. And just adapt it into either a niche way or have a flair on it or have your taste and your preference applied. So I really want this podcast to be something where people can kind of drink from the fire hose on what's possible and start to put together maybe a little bit of a roadmap or at least like a testing platter of, if I really committed myself to this over the next year, I could try things.
Let's give people a testing platter.
Yeah, so testing platter. So I think like the reason why I'm interested in continuing this podcast is just people should not feel trapped in their life circumstances, at least in the West, at least in America. We have a free economy mostly. Yes, you got to pay your taxes and your dues. Yes, it's a trap. Yes, you got to play the Monopoly game. There are a lot of parameters that suck. But at the end of the day, it's probably the best system that we've had in history yet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so it's super imperfect, but it's the best yet. So let's be grateful for that. Index what's possible and do them instead of like dying in mediocrity.
That's great. That's a really good reason. I legitimately just started the podcast so I could become popular and have friends.
Well, that's why you grow the mustache.
It's made me so popular.
Yeah.
My mother hates it.
What does your wife think?
She likes it. Actually, she was the one who thought about doing the mustache.
Interesting.
No. Back to the why you do the podcast.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of being stuck. I've been stuck in the past, and I have a lot of friends who are stuck. And I think a lot of that just happens because you don't know what you don't know. And this podcast is with the hopes of starting a business and kind of doing better in life a little bit easier. Yeah. Like, I don't think people need to be super rich to be happy, but I think being super poor makes you unhappy.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the details. I'm a details guy. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the details we'll try to be not boring here.
Okay.
But it's a podcast. It's freaking an hour. We owe some detail. People they get overwhelmed by like, okay, do I need a license in my county or my city to operate a business?
It's great.
Do I need an entity? How does a business bank account work? What about my taxes? I'm going to need a CPA, and I don't even have a CPA. And not only do I need a CPA if I do this, but I need a business CPA. And aren't those expensive? And I am now stressed, and I haven't even started on the work in my head of the actual product I want to do. Those things do not need to be blockers. They don't need to be blockers. So let's pick one of those. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, okay. It's funny because you and I probably handle those very differently.
That's fine. Both approaches are working.
That's great. Okay, do I need a business CPA? Do I need one, Kendall? Do I?
Do you? No, not until you have a problem. I have some problems.
Yeah.
And I needed a business CPA
but the business that you're the CEO of deals in millions, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to need one at that point.
Yeah.
And once you're at that point, you're going to have the help you need.
So if you think about it in levels, like for your first $10,000, no, you don't need a CPA.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, you will need somebody to file your taxes for you. You don't need to meet all year long with them.
Okay.
And it will be hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000. You should not be overpaying.
That's exactly what I do. I hire a guy just to do my taxes for me. It's way easier.
And how much is it?
It cost me $140 last year.
More people need to know that. Dustin paid $140 to file his taxes last year. You need to know that.
Yeah, did my taxes, got a house involved, got a business involved, got a wife involved.
I paid $140 on TurboTax last year.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I didn't get any professional help.
Yeah, and this guy was great. He was fun.
Yeah.
Like, I even was like, hey, I went to lunch every day. Can I write that off? that, you could write off this confidently. Beyond that, I imagine this. But he can answer that question. I don't know what the answer to that question is, and I don't want to learn the answer to that question.
We get to write off the beer because we get that before the podcast. The podcast is a work thing.
True.
So that's cool.
Work drinks. Okay, Kendall, let me ask you a question. Kendall, I just made, hypothetically speaking, $30,000 like almost overnight on this new service that I'm offering. It's happening so fast. Am I going to get sued? Am I doing something wrong? Am I going to go to jail? Because I don't have a business license. What do I do? Am I in big trouble?
You file what you call somebody to handle it for you. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You ask a friend or you ask another entrepreneur, how did you do this? But if you Google, open a Delaware entity or whatever state you're in. But if you want my recommendation, just always do Delaware for now. And there's a million reasons why, and we can get into that. But it doesn't matter. It's not a way for you to dodge taxes. You have to pay the taxes in the state you're in. Pay your taxes. But you do not have to. I'm in California. I don't have to have a California entity. I just have to pay California taxes. So I can do digital services and things like that from Delaware and have nationwide employees, etc., and work from my garage. And it's cheaper to have an entity in Delaware than it is in California with less regulation and more options for selling equity later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I think one of the things I was getting at is you are allowed to go try your idea and then decide, it's time to like go through the proper processes. After you
try
decide.
first.
Yeah, try first. You don't have to like solve all these problems. Go out and say, I'm going to try repairing a car and getting paid for it and see if I like it. And then if I do, you know what? I'm going to go start this business.
Let me tell you some of the things to not do. And then
please.
Everything else is pretty much fair game. Don't break the law. If you don't know what the laws are, Google if you feel funny about, I think I might be breaking a law. Google it. Then don't hire contractors, but manage them as employees. You'll get sued by the labor board. You don't want to be in a fight with the government. Don't do that. So just pick, is it an employee in my control or is it a contractor in their control? Who has control here? Just pick that. Your first employee, everybody's tempted to just get a contractor, 1099 them. Well, if you want control, don't do that. Pay 20% more and pay all the taxes involved and W-2 them. That has a little more complexity, but you get control. That's a whole setup process. If you want to skip that process, do a contractor and let go of control and test your idea with a contractor where they pick their schedule, they pick their tools, etc. That'll get you pretty far alone. Everything else is kind of like, I don't know, just try it. Send a bunch of emails. You can send cold emails to thousands of businesses, people at their work email address. But if you send it to thousands of personal emails, you're breaking laws. So send them to business emails. There are a few constraints, but people kind of operate with this, everything's dangerous. It's not true.
Yeah. It's a great point. Okay, I would like to move on, my friend, and let's start with our first business idea. Would you like to pitch one or would you like me to pitch one?
I'll go.
Go for it.
All right. I had this hunch that this probably existed, but I needed it this week. And I Googled it and it existed and I bought one. It is a fireproof binder. I live in California. There are a lot of fires here. I don't need a safe. I don't need a big safe. I don't need a small safe. I don't need a safe.
Yeah.
I need papers like my passport and I need my social security cards and I have a big family. I need them to not burn. That's it. Sure enough, I Google fireproof binder. There are so many good options. They were so cheap and they are fully fireproof, silicone and whatnot. Very cool. Some of them even waterproof with full-on waterproof zippers attached, waterproof and fireproof. And I ordered one. So I'm very hyped on that. Physical documents only matter for about this many documents in your life. Everything else needs to be digital, but this many need to be fireproof.
Absolutely. So I have one of these.
You have one?
I have one of these. Yeah, absolutely. I feel kind of bad. I did a bad husband move with this. My wife bought one of these. And you're in California. Have you seen a house after a fire?
Yeah, I've walked through them.
There's nothing left.
Right.
It's gone.
Right.
So my father had a fireproof gun safe, but they're old guns.
Yeah.
No, it did not survive.
It wasn't fireproof?
It was fireproof, but it did not survive. Like, I actually don't buy it. I don't think fireproof anything works.
That's not true. I've seen things survive that are fireproof. Maybe it's just more scientific.
His was very old, so it could have been that.
It's probably, you just need to validate it. It's like, to what degree? Like, yeah. This one was fireproof up to 1,092 degrees, if memory serves.
Well, all of my fires usually are about 1,093.
I know. Sorry. I think a lot of fires, actually, I don't know.
What's the temperature
Hey
of fire?
Siri, how hot is a camping fire?
How high? Oh, no. But that's not a...
We'll get there. Oh, crap. 1,500 degrees.
This is what I'm talking about. It's insane. It doesn't make sense.
Right. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's totally bullshit. I did a bad husband move. I was like, babe, I love you, sweetheart.
No, don't tell her that.
I don't think this is going to be effective.
But what is effective?
There's nothing effective. It'll buy you time. So if the fire is happening and you want to run inside your house and you want to save...
Well, better than a safe. You can't take the whole safe.
Yeah, but like run and get your kid, get your cat, get like the milk so you can drink something the next day.
Don't put the cat in the gun safe. I think we've figured that one out by now.
No, that's a bad one. That's a terrible one. Okay, so here's the business idea. If you want to start a fireproof binders business, make it better. Just buy a binder and then put it in another binder.
A binder within a binder within a binder. That should
exactly.
work.
It'll work. It'll probably get, Eventually, yes.
It's fireproof.
Theoretically. Oh my gosh. That's great. Okay, I have a bad business idea.
Okay.
I want to start the business of TLDR. What do you think?
So you want to summarize the summaries?
Yes, I want to do it. And I want it to be so small because you've seen TLDR, of course.
Yeah.
It's the most, if you don't know.
But you're using like you're not even doing full words.
No, I want the smallest summary of the smallest things on earth. And it could just have links if you really want to read it.
And people's names are actually three-letter acronyms.
Yeah, first letter.
Yeah, first, middle, last.
It's a bad business idea, but I do think people would subscribe to it just because it's kind of funny. It'd be really funny.
If you summarized, to make that actually work and to make the humor of it far more like gripping, it needs to be specifically based on serious news. Summarize. So if you take like the BBC news.
So wait, hold on. Earthquake, everyone dead.
Right. Yeah. And you're like 49 people, PPL, gone, GON, gone in fire, which is a fire emoji.
China, all
in
dead.
Earthquake, which is like the Grand Canyon emoji. Like,
emoji TLDR.
Yeah, so you're using emojis. Yeah, so it's literally like the bullet points of like, this is what happened in the good and bad sense.
That's great.
I like it.
I kind of want
that could be your newsletter. You still need to do your newsletter. I think that people would subscribe to your newsletter. So if that's on the table.
That's a douchey idea.
Wow.
But, I find myself doing way too many bad ideas.
If you can get traffic to it, then there's a way to monetize. But most of your ideas are more like marketing ploys, not really like a business with mechanics that would work.
Yeah.
But they will work if they get popular enough. So
yeah, it's funny. Most of my business is either I'm saving the world or I'm launching a single serve sex lubricant brand.
Which you are doing. What's it called?
It's called The Sauce.
Yeah,
great.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you.
If you want to invest in Dustin's The Sauce.
I just had an investment call about it yesterday, actually.
Wow, how'd it go?
It went really, really well. It was so funny.
Can we talk about it? Is this appropriate?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So it was interesting. I was just at home. I think I just got done eating lunch, and a friend calls me.
Yeah.
And it's the other guy. So I have one business partner, and then he's finding an investor because he's got really good connections for that. And he's like, hey, man, I'm here with this guy. You got time to talk about it? So I had to be on the spot, ready to go.
Yeah.
And so they asked me questions like, okay, what do you think the cost of acquisition is going to be? How have you found? Who's your shipping method? What's the price? So I had to literally be like, yeah, the foils cost 13 cents. It costs 5 cents to fill it.
I didn't even know they're called foils.
Yeah, I learned a lot in this weird industry, man. It's pretty interesting.
Wow.
But it was very interesting because most pitching, you're thinking, I'm going to pitch this. But this was just, do you know it? And can you tell me about it right now? And can you act confident? Like, oh yeah, this is easy. And then do you know the margins of the competition on the market and how much they're making? And I had all those numbers.
Good.
And it was like, he loved it. He was
interesting.
Yeah.
What do you, I'm sure you didn't talk terms, it sounds like.
No, didn't talk terms. It was kind of like we were flirting at that point.
Okay. But this thing has no revenue, right?
That is correct.
You put in the groundwork to get it to like samples phase.
Yeah, we got samples. We have a product.
Okay. So, and you're ready to scale it if it's funded. What about, and your marketing? Do you know how you would market it?
Yeah, so we do ads through an agency that my partners with. So that's his end of the whole structure.
So you'd use ads through a professional agency. And what do you think in the first 6 months you need to drop to make that agency successful? What kind of
the marketing side or the whole project?
Just the marketing side.
We're trying to put 20,000 into that side of it.
Okay, in the first 6 months?
Yeah.
That's not that much.
Well, no, probably the first run would be, hey, we want $5,000 to test all these ads.
Yep.
And then if these ones work, we're just going to double down and then go again and then go again and then go again.
Got it. Okay, and then what about to pull off the fulfillment side?
Fulfillment side is about $60,000 start. No, well, it's not. It all depends. So how it works with these companies is say, hey, it's going to be $20,000 a flavor. Now we want five flavors.
Flavors? What?
We're selling an experience, man.
Okay, all right. I'm going to ignore that. Keep going.
Anyways, so yeah, it's a good product. I got to tell you.
Wow, coconut. Did you watch The Office?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember Robert California? He's like, oh, I really preferred the original. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
He's drinking an energy drink from, I think, Thailand.
Okay.
And there's a guy with an accent who goes, someone walks by, maybe Jim, like, hey, how is that? And he goes, coconut penis. And that's the flavor of
my gosh.
Yeah. And then Robert California walks by. He's like, I really preferred the original. That's
my God.
Anyways, it's very subtle. It happened really fast. And so if you caught it, you caught it. Anyways.
That's terrible.
This isn't that podcast.
I can't believe
that's a different podcast.
Yeah, different podcast. We should listen to that one. That one sounds fun.
No, I'm over it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so my product is flavored. And there is a coconut flavor. We did not. That's great. I'll share. I'll give you some. Yeah, I'll send some home with you.
No, thank you. We'll pass. My wife and I will pass.
We're completely devolving. Anyways, how those fulfillment centers work is they say, hey, we can do $20,000 per line because it requires reprinting a whole foil, label the whole bit.
Right.
But they say that's our minimum order. However, what you can do is you can say, hey, I'll give you $50,000 for 5 lines. I know it's less, but I'll give you that right now if you can do it. And typically they're going to say yes.
Yeah, right.
So they want to know if you're going to play ball. So they're like, yeah, usually it's this. Well, can you do that? Are you going to do it?
Right.
So it's a bit of a gray area.
Right. But it reminds me of, so we have some developers in Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
And the hourly rates are so much different than America, obviously, that we were finding 1 year of experience, very, very junior developers. Like I would never use them for my stuff, but a client of ours wanted to use them. And for 1 year of experience, they would pay like 1/10 of what you'd pay in the US for 1 year of experience. But with 3 years of experience, which if it's a good engineer, the good type of thinking for an engineer, that person in 3 years can really become pretty effective. And those people were only a couple dollars an hour more. And you're getting triple the experience and it's a couple dollars an hour more. So from a arbitrage perspective, it's just so much higher value to get somebody who's not going to make a bunch of mistakes on the job for a couple dollars an hour more.
Yeah.
And anyways, so like but it's very relational. How you find those things out is very much, you need to be in the culture. You need to be relational about it.
Wait, are you talking about pay rates or?
Yeah, you're talking about, like your example was $20,000 per run and we want to do 5, that would be $100,000. But what if we give you 50 now? That's half price.
Exactly.
I mean, the math is good on that. But from their perspective, they're like, I'm not sure how much these white guys want to invest in this. They could be desperate and they're trying to switch and bait us, but they also could have lots of money. We don't know. So they have their minimums and then they feel it out. Both sides are just feeling each other out. And what you end up coming to is a very fair arrangement if you'll put in the relational work. And I think a lot of people skip the relational work. They want to just go straight to the commoditization of it. How much is it? What do I get? And that's not really how the world works. It's what we want the world to work when we're more selfish or we're stressed. Yeah.
I just listened to a podcast the other day, and it was a little bit about, it was almost entirely about nepotism and about terrorism and the connection between the two.
You would.
Yeah.
Well, nepotism and terrorism?
Well, think about it.
The connection between, wait.
It's crazy. It's a really, really strange thing. So in groups and out groups, terrorists, when they're typically, doing the crazy stuff, like I'm bombing a building, I'm doing suicide bombings, most of the time it's not because they're actually religious zealots. It's because they belong to an in-group and they haven't belonged to a group before.
Right,
so nepotism plays in is because everybody helps those who are in their family. Obviously, if your son wants a job, you're going to help your son find a job. If some neighbor kid's son wants a job, you might help that kid. You know what I mean? You help the people you love the most and closest, right? And then that kind of extends out to you help the people who look like you. And so the world is essentially ran by people with relationships. The stronger relationship you have, the further you will likely go to help somebody, right? And that can go in both ways. One way to terrorism and the other way to starting a business. And legitimately, it's not just numbers. It's actually relationships. And are you a nice guy? Do you do what you say you're going to do? And do I want to be around you? That means probably more than are you a little bit cheaper than the next guy.
This is good. So I think I have a little bit of an Asperger's hat sometimes when I'm working. I can just like turn off my emotion.
You should have a hat. Yeah.
I should get one that says Asperger's on it.
Yeah.
I can put on like my Asperger's hat and kind of just turn off the way I feel about something and just be very objective. And think numbers and think situations and processes, etc. But I don't like to live that way. It's not who I want to be or how I want to live. It's just a tool.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll catch myself like, oh, I'm doing this too much because maybe I'm afraid and I don't want to feel, or maybe I got overwhelmed and I just came in fight or flight this morning, and so I actually need to surrender this tool belt at the door, and I need to come in and be more relational, because that's actually who I want to be and how I want to live, but you also get better results. It's just really freaking messy. So I think if I could encourage people to challenge themselves to like, where am I being actually relationally lazy? Because I would like for this to be very easy. I just want the input and the output to work.
Yeah.
But that's not how people work, and it's not how you get ahead, and it's not how business works. You just want it to work that way, but it's not. People aren't science. People aren't math.
No, it's dude. Growing up, I had a girlfriend, and we were talking about dating and whatever. And then she looks at me. She's like, I perceive this to be with minimal conflict and high longevity. And
wait, who said that? You said
this
that?
girl I was gonna date, and
she said that.
She said that to me. And
say it again. Minimal.
I predict this to have minimal conflict and good longevity, or something like that.
Wow.
And it was
big red flag.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. But it was hilarious in the moment.
Oh my gosh. Right. No, I'm going to be your friend forever, but big red flag for my relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you are a quirky person.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would be friends with that person forever, but would I marry them?
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Here's a business idea. Kendall, this is your business idea, and I don't know if you've launched it. This is your clue to launch it. Rates for regions. I want to be able to go to a website, and it has the whole world, and I want to type in a job, let's say a VR developer, and I want it to pop up, and I want to know what people are paying for that in Cairo. I want to know what people are paying for that in Bangladesh, in California, in Texas, and I want it to be easy and fast. That should be a business.
So you want to commoditize people down to the dollar.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You would.
Yeah.
You would. I mean, it definitely exists in different forms, but they're, I use Glassdoor all the time to look up stuff, and there's all kinds of other data.
Glassdoor is confusing,
but it's not
though.
Right. So they get distracted with the stuff we actually don't care about. Right. So I do, one of the things I'm building actually, so to your point, yes, I am building this, but into a newsletter form. Oh. So I'm a little bit of a data junkie, and I know you are too. And so one of the newsletters that we are doing is it's very exclusive, and here are how much developers being paid, at these different ranks for these different niches. Like a Web3 developer versus a React developer versus a React full stack developer versus a DevOps expert with full stack experience. They're all very different backgrounds, and it really doesn't matter what your background is. It matters what the job is. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. You need to decide if am I looking from the employer's perspective or the employee's perspective, because it's two different narratives. So if you're the employer, you have to define the role. We pay this much for the role. Regardless of whether you won the competition to get the role, it doesn't really matter. The role pays this at most big serious companies. So,
okay, I think you're making this very complicated, and I think it would work really, really well as just a map on a web page.
No, I love that format. Yeah, a map.
A map, scroll across the world, and then if you wanted to, here's how you
job title.
Yeah, you job board it. You job
title.
Job title
and currency, maybe.
Yeah, you could do currency. That's an easy.
But then
exchange.
you just like browse.
Yeah, and then so you're like, oh, I like this. I like paying for this in Cairo. Now, for you to find a Cairo developer was probably very hard. Right. However, if everybody's registering on this website, they know what the rates are. They're okay with it. Ooh.
So the problem really is getting the data, right? That's why it's not easy for anybody to start. Like, how do you get that compensation data, and how is it real? Because people can smell bullshit. So as soon as like this is 30% higher than I'm paid and I'm in that job in that region, and then I leave a review or whatever, or I slam this on the board on Reddit, you start to lose consumer trust. So the way to offset that is to make it all anecdotal. So, and that's what we're doing with our newsletter, but the map would be a great format for that. So you make it all anecdotal evidence, not big data, right? So Glassdoor is big data, which is very fudgeable, and the narrative can affect that a lot. But if you go, I met a person who said that their whole team makes less than $60,000, but more than $45,000 to make cold calls in Raleigh, North Carolina. Great. I have an anecdotal evidence for Raleigh, North Carolina for SDRs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would work. That would not get the traffic that I want to see. I want to see quick.
Yeah, you're thinking
numbers.
Traffic. I think more like, what do I want this tool for? Like the newsletter is not for getting huge amounts of people to it. It's for getting the right people to it, right? So it depends on what you want to sell. Like, what's your actual objective there?
My actual objective there would be quick information on approximate numbers. So this is just quick information. And then you could expand it further down the road to saying, okay, if you want to find this developer in this region, this is your connection for that. Basically, you could do...
So you want to just make Glassdoor a different format.
Yeah, Glassdoor sucks. I hate Glassdoor.
Yeah.
I really hate it. It should all be completely revamped.
And our sponsor today is Glassdoor. Get compensation data and HR reviews and rank up your executive.
Do you feel like you would like obfuscatable... oh, God. I didn't quite...
Obfuscatable?
Obfuscate?
You know the weirdest words. What is it?
Obfuscate?
Is that a word?
To obscure things. I'm looking it up.
This is the difference between someone who went to college and someone who didn't go to college.
Yeah. Obfuscate, render unclear, or
I don't say things I can't pronounce.
Obfuscate.
Nailed it. Freaking nailed it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Glassdoor sucks. All right. Here's my next.
Well done. I've never heard that word before. Obfuscate.
Okay.
I got to get out more.
Here's my next idea. You ready for this? Academic journals in the vernacular. I want to read academic journals in a way that I can actually understand the damn thing. They make them too hard, but it is a gold mine of good information.
I do like that.
Legit information.
Ooh.
That could be a newsletter. That could be anything. We find I'm talking gold mine.
Now, are you allowed to summarize and TLDR their information?
Yeah. Also, even if you're not, nobody's going to care. You just give do it anyways. These are academics. Give them credit. It's fine. But they
start the business overseas. Dustin
it's a 14-page thing that really could be a paragraph that says, "Hey, we found that this does this pretty easily."
Did you know that caffeine? If you drink coffee, so not caffeine, coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
If you drink more than 4 cups of coffee a day, your chance of getting prostate cancer as an adult male are 90% less.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
You and I are good.
I'm not getting prostate
No
cancer.
cancer here.
Well,
Not that kind.
but you might get lip cancer. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Liver cancer, whatever.
I'll take the liver. I don't want the
Your
liver.
kidneys will be shot.
That sounds
Anyways,
awful.
and
Oh
that's
gosh.
my beef with a lot of academic journals. It was like they get so niche on their topic that you're like, okay, but if I have that much coffee every day without fail, my teeth are black, I've rotted my liver, and my adrenal glands are jacked up, and my melatonin doesn't release well.
Yeah. Also, it's
But I won't get prostate cancer.
academic journals are pretty good in that they really do well to include all those things, but those are often the things you don't want to include. Like,
Right.
it's like to the 99 percentile, but these people were also having it at this time of the day, and they were having it within interaction of food,
right.
and not this. And you're like, I don't want that. Give me the TLDR.
Right.
Hey, 4 cups of coffee. It's better for you. You know?
Not holistically, though. That's my point.
Yeah. Like, and then you could summarize it. Anyways, academic journals said quickly and easily. I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that all day long.
You're right. You're right. I would too. What if there was a person who was good at interpreting these? Like if you're qualified to read them, and then you just did a freaking podcast, or you just did a YouTube series where you give 3-minute summaries of it. Right? I just want to listen to Jordan Peterson's version of the prostate cancer issue.
I don't want to listen to his version. I'm not a Jordan Peterson
I do.
fan.
I love Jordan Peterson.
That's why I love
gosh.
you. I like simple friends. All right, would you like to present an idea?
Wow. All right. Rank Dustin. It's a website that says how much of a douche Dustin actually is.
Isn't this a website already?
Yeah, rankdustin.com. If it's not, I'm going to buy that before you do.
Oh, domain's down.
No, let me do this one. So I want to buy a mechanic shop in town. It's a little bit of a divergence from SEO expertise and, software engineering and, content and all this crap. So I am fascinated with owner financing small businesses. It's like I would call it a hobby, but it's a strategy too. So I paid like $1,000 to take an M&A course recently. I've never watched the course. Sorry if you guys are listening. But that's how much I liked this body of work. Like I did the private equity stuff back in the day. Owner financing, it jives with the way my brain works. I get the value to a retiring person who wants to sell their business, but nobody big will buy it. Because
okay. So I'm a 65-year-old man, and I'm okay, but I don't want to run this anymore, and I also don't want it to die.
You got it. So let me get more specific.
Yeah.
You have been wrenching on cars your whole life.
Yes.
You're really good at it. You know exactly what that sound means, and you know how to deal with the emotion of the lady who doesn't have the funding to fix her car, and you have a whole nuanced process of how you handle that because you're that experienced.
Great.
Who the heck do you sell to run your business to that would actually make a profit after you've put in that much time to understand that level of nuance, when that's actually how your clients are, and that's actually how much work it takes? So like, there aren't really good exit options. Nobody's rolling up mechanic shops into a private equity fund. So you need to basically pass it down to your daughter or son. You need to sell it to the next generation. You need to train an employee and make them CEO so you can own it and have a retirement income. How do you get your retirement income if you stop practicing? Right? That's a big problem right now. So I saw today, there's a local mechanic shop. My buddy just spent $1,000 with them. And he's like, best experience I've ever had at the mechanic. And he's 40 years old. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, I'll show you. He pulled up on his phone this little green, yellow, orange, red diagnostic of all of the things that they check standard on his car with photos from the mechanic. Here are the calipers. They look about 70% aged. You're good. Probably for 14 more months.
This is huge. They take away all the obscurity.
They took away all this fear of like, I don't know if you're ripping me off.
Exactly.
Or if you're actually just doing me a favor. Like, am I paying you like, and then happy with the results? Or am I paying, like, how do I feel dopamine from the fact that you just took $1,000 from me? If you can solve that problem, then you are going to be beating all your competition, and I will keep coming back to you every time there's a problem.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy that I'm not feeling fear with those guys, but I'm giving you
Dude,
my
I would
$1,000.
pay the extra money if
Right.
I'm getting photos and they're like, "Hey, your brakes are wearing."
Yep.
Are they?
So I looked
Yeah,
at
here's
the
photo.
I looked at it. He's like, yeah, and here's the app. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we could probably build that app for $50,000. But it's a distribution problem. Like selling that app to mechanic shops would suck. That'd be a terrible business plan, which is their business plan. So I don't want to be the app company. I want to own the mechanic shop that uses the better app. So I want to beat their app. It would cost me $50,000 personally to beat their app. And then I want to buy the mechanic shop. That would cost me $50,000 down payment and $8,000 a month for the next 5 years to buy the mechanic shop. So I'm $100,000 in, and then I have some debt to pay off, but I have employees. I have a mechanic shop. We already had a brand, a reputation. I pay another $50,000 to upgrade the marketing. And then I raise prices 15%. And then I let everybody know we're going to, every time you come in for this, whatever fix, we also do this extra diagnostic, and we document it all with photos in the app. Just log in and you'll see your car. It's on file with us.
Photos over time, the whole bit.
We're going to get alerts. Okay, if your 14 months are up, hey, we need to check your calipers. It's time to come in. You would get more predictable recurring revenue. You would get more sanity. Your employee training is easier. Your customers feel safer. You can raise your prices. You can increase your margins. And where do you get the workers from? The millennials working for the shop down the street that are just so frustrated that the systems aren't there. We're still like writing down credit card numbers.
Yeah. Innovating a dying business would work.
I barely call it innovation, but we're layering on tech.
Yeah, you're layering on tech. I mean, I wouldn't own an automotive business. My dad owned an automotive business. I don't want to do that. That would sound.
I'm going to do it. Check in with me.
Okay, do it. But cars are getting better. Like it's not as necessary as it used to be. You know what I mean? I can drive a car.
Doesn't matter. There's still a huge ass market.
There is a huge ass
market.
market.
So if you're the top 5% of performers in that huge ass market, doesn't matter if it shrinks. You're not going to get bumped off.
Okay, buy the automotive shop. You know what shop I would buy though? Freaking welding shop. That's way cooler.
Great.
Yeah.
How do you add technology to make it better?
I don't care. I just like welding.
Okay, those are Dustin's ideas.
I don't know how would I add? I would charge more. I don't feel like people charge enough for that stuff. That's all I would do, honestly.
You know, sometimes that is actually legit the solution. Like this guy's afraid of charging more. I'm just going to buy the business and charge more.
Yeah. This guy's a master welder. He can weld in scuba gear underwater.
He doesn't know his worth.
He's not charging $30 an hour because that's what he was. This makes no sense. You know
underwater welding?
Yeah.
Is that the business you want to get into?
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Oh my gosh.
That would be a lot of lawsuits, I imagine, though. You'd have to have a lot of
Everything has a lot of lawsuits and they never materialize.
That's true. That's a big thing. Like when things are illegal, I always ask, yeah, it's illegal, but is somebody going to prosecute? Because I go 70 in a 65 zone all day long, and I have no fear about that because nobody's pulling me over for that.
Can I do a book club?
It's legal, but is it? Well, what's your book club?
Okay. So we talked a few episodes ago about I want to keep coming back to a segment called book club. I want to talk about these businesses books that I read, and you read some. We get a lot of input. And that's why we're able to recall information on the spot. So
we've been learning how to read, and
I've been learning how to read. So there is at this point, I mean, gosh, it's probably 15 to 20 years old, probably 20 years old. There's a book called The Starfish and the Spider. It's not popular. I'm not a hype guy. I don't need to ride.
Good first book, Kendall.
Starfish. Yeah. No, we did Reed Hastings' Netflix book last time. So we already did a book club.
Oh, yeah. No, I know we have.
So, regardless of what Dustin thinks, The Starfish and the Spider, it's not a picture book, and it's not it. So, in business, there was a huge change that emulated something we've seen in history. Back to the Apache Indians preventing Cortez from taking over basically Texas, like Mexico and Texas. So you've got the Spaniards who came in and like basically through disease and cutting the head off of like a kingdom, they would collapse these 1,500-year-old kingdoms by killing the king and their leadership team. And they were so hierarchical that in a single like decade, a 1,500-year dynasty would collapse.
Yeah.
The starfish and the spider is a business study of why that didn't keep happening when they came across the Apache Indians, who were so culturally driven but not hierarchical. So what would happen is they would they tried to take that land, Mexico, Texas area, and the Spaniards would go wipe out a tribe. They just demolish everybody, kill everybody, and try to take the land. Well, all the nearby Apache Indians, different tribes, different chiefs, different priests, but they had the same like core values. They'd get so pissed, so angry. They'd start raiding in the night. Sheer bitterness. It wasn't even about anything other than like, you did this to the people who share my values. And they would start raiding and just jacking them up. It was 100 years of war, and it never resolved. And eventually the Spaniards just couldn't move forward in that direction. So Latin America, as we see it today, has a limit, and it didn't keep going north because of the Apache Indians. So in business, we saw this happen with Napster. You remember Napster?
Yeah.
Shout out to millennials. Yep. And LimeWire. Yep. So
yeah, I definitely had that.
So there was the $1 billion, you're in the music industry. So there's the royalties and the licensing and how that all works. And so it's fascinating. If you don't know about it, it's fascinating. But they were being like materially damaged by the underground Napster LimeWire movement when the internet started, really coming online. And music could now be free. There were problems, like viruses are free. So there were other problems with that, but you were breaking the royalties. So the starfish and the spider walks through these narratives and talks about how Napster was the other extreme of this. It was all culture with no leadership. And it just took like grassroots, like it just so viral. It's crazy. Viral before viral was a thing.
Yeah.
And the powers that be could not stop it. It just spread too big, too fast because people actually craved free music. Well, it never made money, and they sued the bejesus out of the founders, and those people had to go live in other countries just to like not be in jail or whatever.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
It was really bad, and it's not a business success. So they said, the spider has the legs with the head at the top, easy to kill. Just kill the brain, all the legs are dead. The starfish, scientifically speaking, if you cut off a leg, it literally makes a new starfish. It literally regenerates a starfish. Its brain is distributed into its legs, and it can regrow a body. So the pinnacle of the future of success they proposed in this book 20 years ago, and I still think it's playing out, is both. It's a hybrid of both. So you need centralized controls because you need a place for like compounding to accumulate, but you also need decentralized cultures based on value systems so that you can basically go viral. And that was 20 years ago.
Okay, decentralized cultures as in...
So shared values.
Yeah.
Shared values, but it's not top-down driven. It's just rallying around values. Now, there's still people who lead us, and those people can capture the wealth, or they can compound things, or they can lead forward. Think of Steve Jobs and the innovation of the iPhone.
Yep.
But really what happened was a values movement around a high quality set of devices that would serve my life better. So there was a values buy-in. So Apple now is one of the richest, is the richest, second richest, something like that, company, richest in cash company in the world. Their cash reserves are by far the richest in the world. And there's this hybrid of centralized control, but they proceeded with heavy cultural influence, not like the music industry with licensing is the opposite, right? It was just control and not about culture.
Man, that's complicated. Yes, the culture play is always the best play, in my opinion. If you can get people to want something more than they actually like, what's Apple's slogan? It's innovation, or we create creative
idea.
solutions for creative
I just see like an 80s commercial in my head.
No. It's like a really good one. It's Think Different. Oh, that's so cool.
It's
That's
really good.
awesome. Think Different. That's a great. Yeah. I don't know if this quite plays into it, but the cultural play of you're not selling a product, you're selling a way to think differently, right? That is the big thing that they're selling right there.
Yeah.
If you buy good shoes, you're not buying
It's values.
shoes.
They're selling values, right?
Yeah, it's the signifier. So everything that you do, everything that you wear signifies something about you. You can't not do it.
What does my black shirt tell you?
Honestly, what does it tell me for you? Because I know you, it's probably like, this is practical and it can be adapted to many different types of, social circumstances. You could be in a bar and you could be on a podcast. Probably couldn't be at a prom, but you could almost be at a prom. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like that. But yeah, everything's a signifier. So what are they actually buying and what are you actually selling, right?
Yeah.
So back to my lubricant business. What am I selling? I'm not selling lube. I'm selling, hey, I want to have a date night with my wife and I want to make it exciting. So I got these weird flavors.
Yeah, right.
And
it's fun. It's quirky. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm selling an opportunity to connect with my wife.
Time, connection. I like that.
Yeah, anything like that.
I like that.
Okay, let's see here. I want to do...
Okay, find an idea and let's make this the epic ending. So look carefully.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I got to go pick up the kids soon and
oh, yeah.
But let's go out with a banger. What do you got? Or give me some
transition lens for my car windows. Ooh. I want the transition lens of the 90s and I want my car to dim when it gets bright outside.
Wait, how would this work?
It doesn't. It's a joke, but it would work. It's just the dumbest thing on planet Earth, and you would get like in so much trouble. All right, I'm going to look up for a better.
Okay. Or give me some options.
Let's see here. A group babysitting business.
Group babysitting business?
It's not really that group.
No, let's not go into that. People are going to complain.
I just think that there should be a babysitting business for Sunday mornings for people who don't go to church, because that's one of the best parts of churches.
So take me to church.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to drop off my kid in a humanist babysitting society. I've got an idea for you. Here is an idea. I've talked to you about this, and this was a business I was looking into, and then I decided, I don't want to start it. Here it is. I call it barrels. It's barrel-aged cocktails that you mail to restaurants and they will say, this is my 3-year barrel-aged Manhattan. Holy crap, I want to try this. Absolutely. It's $15 a glass. Help yourself.
Interesting. So you're the wholesale provider of these barrel-aged cocktails.
You barrel-aged them.
So you're not going retail. You're going you're distributing straight to restaurants.
D2B.
And you're trying to get, you're giving them like an aesthetic. Like, so it's...
Oh, it's cool. It's
like
cool.
It comes in a small barrel?
Yeah, small barrel, medium barrel, big barrel.
That's tapped?
Yes.
Okay. And so they could even put that up on a counter. Mm-hmm. So you're actually you're lowering their need for an aesthetics budget. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then you're giving them the sale. So they don't even have to think about how to sell a Manhattan.
Yeah.
I like this.
And it's the best damn Manhattan you've ever had. You ever had a barrel-aged Manhattan?
No.
It's so good.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing.
What?
It's totally a thing. I want to sell it. It's a thing.
Wait, they barrel-aged all the ingredients post-mixing?
They mix the Manhattan, they put it in a barrel, and they come back 2 years later and they say, this tastes better.
Sugars and all?
Yeah, it's like barrel-aging whiskey. Because have you ever had distillate? It's whiskey before it's whiskey. It's just kind of like bitey and gross. But you put it in there for 15, 20, 30 years. It tastes incredible.
I thought you said 3.
Yeah, because it's a pre-mixed cocktail. So you don't have to wait 15, 20 years.
Wow.
You can do 2 years and you're going to notice a difference. It's going to be a little bit more mellow. It's going to have less alcohol content, but it's going to be so freaking good. So you might have to mix it a little
less?
Strong. I don't know. Actually, for 2 years, I don't know.
I wonder
don't
what
know.
the drop-off is.
Yeah.
I would do this business with you. This is like a warehouse, and this is so you just get a bunch of raw ingredients that are decent, and then you put them in barrels in the warehouse.
Let it
Pretty
sit.
simple. And then 3 years later, you actually launch the marketing.
You could even, you wouldn't have to work on, you have basically 2 years to work through the details of how to legally distribute it.
Yeah, and the marketing plan.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I like that. I think it's one of those things that could be so, exclusive that your margins could be quite good compared to the other options, and the supply and demand factor could really play to your benefit because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is patient enough.
No, not patient enough at all. And you have to position yourself as we're the best. Sell a classy brand.
Right.
Don't be affordable.
Right.
Be the best.
Well, and be the best. Like, do the scientific work,
That's
which will
the
be
thing.
fun.
It'd be easy. You're not going to be the worst because you're already better than everybody else out there.
Interesting. Because barrel aging just is better?
It's not just better. It's better on certain types of drinks. Like if you're going to make a Paloma, it's not going to be good.
Barrel aged Paloma.
Yeah, look at that, But for an old fashioned, oh yeah, way better.
I like that. Well, let's end there. So if you enjoyed our discussion today, find us on YouTube. We need some more subscribers there. We are done with TikTok. Screw you, TikTok. Go away. Instagram. And we'll see you next week.
Ciao.